Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Zero Excuses podcast. My name is Kenyon Zitska. Thank you for tuning in to the Wheelbook Wednesday edition of the show. Today, what I want to talk with you guys about is how to make decisions faster. So, if you guys are like me, you like to have all the pieces of information, you want to make a solid decision, you want to do things right the first time. I'm an engineer by trade, so naturally I like to get into the information. I like to theorize. I like to run different scenarios in my head, and I think sometimes that's to my own detriment. So so if you're one of those type of people who considers themselves a perfectionist, if you think you need to see the entire picture before you move forward, or simply just deal with paralysis by analysis all the time, this episode is for you. I'm going to go over a few strategies that I've used to make decisions faster, because I think ultimately the faster that we can make decisions, the faster we learn, the more experience we're going to gain, and we will reach our goals and ultimately be happier because we won't languish in these decisions anymore. We'll be able to get after it. We'll be able to learn and grow and experience more in our lives if we can make decisions faster. So here we go. So the first tip that I have is keep in mind that more information doesn't always equal better. So the best example that I think for this is if you've ever got a cold, if you've ever got some sort of injury or whatever medical condition, how many of us go out there, get on Google, get on WebMD, after we start getting sniffles or we get a little ache and pain, and the next thing we know, we've got this deadly disease, or we're gonna have to go get our leg amputated or something because we've looked up so much information and we've beaten ourselves to death because of all this information that's out there. But this is counterintuitive, but the more information that you have, sometimes, actually a lot of times, it tends to cloud our decisions. It makes the water very murky because we can't sort through every single scrap of information that's out there. The Pareto Principle definitely applies here, where the first 20% of information that you gather on a situation or circumstance, that's going to dictate to about an 80% certainty of what action you're going to need to take. So don't sit there and think that you need to get all the information before you make a decision. You need to get out of the mindset that you need to know everything about every decision. Which leads me into the second tip that I have for you. Ask yourself, is this decision really that meaningful? Does this decision require all of this information? Because I would guarantee you that about 95 to 98% of the decisions that we make on a daily basis don't need the level of scrutiny or level of agony that we put ourselves through on a day-to-day basis. There's only a few decisions that actually require a large level of scrutiny. So my next tip for you guys is talk with someone who has experience. Find people who have gone through the decision or the circumstance that you are currently in, because that may clear things up significantly for you. And if you find yourself in a long-term situation, you should also think about entering into like a mentor-mentee type relationship, or find specialized groups that deal with the specific problem that you will be finding yourself in. There's tons of mastermind groups. There's tons of resources out there. It's 2017. There's too much personalized groups out there that you shouldn't be able to find that type of experience that you need to make a good decision. All right, my next strategy for you guys is don't make decisions based on what other people are going to think about you. And I see it all the time, especially when you're buying a car or a house, jewelry, cars. A lot of these big materialistic decisions are are made based on what impression we're going to make on other people, and not based on what our values are and what we find important. And oftentimes, I've been guilty of this in the past, but oftentimes when I've been thinking about, oh, what's this person going to think, or what this other person is going to think, it ends up in this huge, endless cycle of well, this person's going to think this, whereas another person is going to think the complete opposite. I think if we remove that largely from the equation, our decisions can be very much streamlined, because we'll be making decisions based on our own values and not what other people, what other values people are going to be pushing on us. So that leads me into the next tip that I have for you guys, is to decide what the most important criteria are for your decision, and limit it to, I'd say, maybe 4 to 5 different criteria. And if whatever it is you're deciding, whether it's a car or another major purchase, or another decision might be what college your kids go to, if you lay out these criteria ahead of time, it'll make your decision-making process so much more streamlined. That way, if it doesn't meet a certain criteria, then you can simply just walk away. These are your go, no-go gauges on whether you should make this decision or not. And this also, you need to be patient perhaps sometimes with these decisions, which is a bit of an oxymoron with what we're talking about here, but you'll be more confident in the decision-making process as well. And the last strategy that I have for you guys is to practice making small decisions, because if you can start making decisions about small things a lot faster, that will start bleeding over into the larger decisions that you have to make on a daily basis. It's with anything. It's like throwing a ball, or learning to walk, or learning a new skill. So you can perhaps set a timer, like a stopwatch or whatever you have available, to 30 seconds, and give yourself 30 seconds to make a decision on what movie you want to watch, or what you're going to order for your dinner. You're literally going to be training your brain to think faster and in a more streamlined fashion. So there you guys have it. Some practical tips on how you can start making decisions faster and reach your goals faster and learn at a much faster rate. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Before I sign off here, just want to remind you real quick, if you're finding value in this podcast, just ask that you leave a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you listen to this. Share it with your friends and family who might benefit from the conversations that we're having here. Also, don't forget to head on over to our Facebook group over at facebook.com/groups/0excuses and join the 400 plus people in there who are having some pretty powerful conversations around eliminating their excuses, building discipline, and reaching new levels of achievement in their lives. And if you're really looking to put these principles and ideas into practice, we do have an exclusive mastermind that we recently launched. That's the Infinite Results Mastermind Group. You can check that out at kennyandziska.com/results. And if you want to work with me one-on-one to build that discipline, to regain control over your time, to build wealth, improve your health, and find deep and lasting connections with your friends and family, you can work with me one-on-one at my discipline coaching program at kennyandziska.com/discipline. All right, guys, thanks again, and I'll talk with you soon.